Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. The microphone. I keep forgetting. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. So, last hadith we took was hadith number 33, right?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Me?
You own it? Who else? No, this guy lazy. Hopefully he's coming out of his laziness now, yes? Yeah?
إن شاء الله.
Inshallah.
عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: الصلوات الخمس والجمعة إلى الجمعة ورمضان إلى رمضان مكفرات لما بينهن إذا اجتنبت الكبائر. رواه مسلم.
Anybody else? You haven't heard this hadith enough in your young life to memorize it yet? Huh? You've heard it before though, right? You're familiar with it, yes? Okay. But you haven't memorized it. You want to try it? Yalla. Yeah. شكلك يعني متردد, so you gonna try or not? Get up. We'll help you out, inshallah. Huh? No, امسك وهكذا شوف. That's what we used to do with Bukhari when we stood up and just grab it like that. So we're not cheating. أسد حفظت الحديث أم لا؟ ها؟ طيب تعال اقرأ. Come on, man, we ain't got all day. Keeping us waiting like a woman getting ready. Come on, man. الصلوات الخمس الجمعة. Don't start pronouncing this like the Americans. Yeah, I think we're going to Jumu'ah. Jumu'ah. Oh, there's a wow. Let them just fix one thing at a time, though. All right, well, go ahead. مكفرات لما بينهن. See, that wasn't that difficult. Alhamdulillah, you did it. That's the benefit of growing up in a house, hearing hadith all the time, that you can memorize the hadith in seconds, right? You grow up in a house listening to Tupac, you're not going to be memorizing no hadith, are you? Allah Mustaan. All right, so hadith number 34. And you guys, you have to choose a time so we can start this Seeking Knowledge book. To go over this book on seeking knowledge. I want to do it around this time, but it's going to have to be either live streamed or recorded. So Mujahid has to be here. Mujahid is our official technician, cameraman, social media, whatever. What would you call those people?
Geek Squad.
Huh?
Geek Squad.
The executive producer.
Well, he's everything. All right, so he's taking care of all the social media and everything. So when can we start this? You have the book, right?
Oh, tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to be able to.
Not tomorrow. Probably not this week because I want to organize it. But that's the thing. We can start it by next Saturday, inshallah. You have the book?
Somewhere.
The Seeking Knowledge book. I have like 10 copies that I bought to sell them, but I didn't sell them. So if anybody wants them, they can go to Mujahid.
How much are they?
No, actually, they go to Safe. Let Safe run the bookstore.
How much are they?
Huh?
How much are they?
I don't know. I'll probably sell them for I can't say that online because of the fee. I'll sell them to you guys at a discounted price. I make the people online jealous. What? We're buying it from Amazon right now. What can I do, man? Amazon's stealing all the money. It's not me. What is that? Yeah, you got to come to the masjid to get the discount. You don't come to the masjid, you don't get the discount. Long as time.
Go for 2 weeks and then never come again.
All right.
No. Student discount?
Huh?
Student discount?
Student discount, yes. All right. So inshallah, we'll see. We'll plan that out, inshallah, to try to get it started by next Saturday, inshallah. Because that way, what we can do is just read the daily hadith, and then we can go through. Because it's not going to be a class. We're just going to be reading through the book and just explaining certain things that need explaining, and maybe giving more detail, certain issues of why I chose this book and I didn't choose that book or something like that. You know, things like that. I can at least explain why. You know, but other than that, it's not like a book that I'm going to actually teach. But as far as the Quran program in the book, I do plan to expand that and make like a small risala, maybe 50, 60 pages out of that chapter, and expand it. Huh? He already made the flyer for it. Yeah. He already made the flyer for Facebook and everything. So yeah, inshallah. So the Quran program is something that's going to be expanded, inshallah. Hopefully, like it's a risala by itself, inshallah. And talk to Sajid, inshallah. Maybe Sajid can make a workbook to go along with it. A workbook.
Oh.
Like a memorization thing, you know, just like a little journal, something that, you know, but specific to the program that's in the book. You know. All right, so, but of course that program that I wrote in the book is not just like everything that we do. What did the brother say when he came to the salat in the last 10 nights? Remember that? And we prayed the first 2 rak'ahs, and he got up and he said, what did he say? He said, man, this ain't for the faint of heart. You remember that? Remember that? The one brother, the brother that was in prison for 25 years.
Oh, that.
And he got up after we prayed the first 2 rak'ahs. I think it was that night that I think we were doing. It wasn't the night that we did 20 pages, but I think we did 10. And then he got up after the first 2, and he's like, man, this ain't for the faint of heart, man. So the same thing with that Quran memorization program. That's another thing. Anything that we do is not going to be for the faint of heart. You're going to have to get a headache. You're going to have lots of headaches for a long time. All right, so hadith number 34. Another way to get out and get our sins wiped out. So this is going to be the last, I believe, of the mukaffirat, the hadith about the mukaffirat. All right. So it says, عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ألا أدلكم على ما يمحو الله به الخطايا ويرفع به الدرجات قالوا بلى يا رسول الله إسباغ الوضوء على المكاره وكثرة الخطاء إلى المساجد وانتظار الصلاة بعد الصلاة فذلكم الرباط. And in another narration he repeated the last part twice. He said فذلكم الرباط فذلكم الرباط. So here, عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه, he said that the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم said, ألا أدلكم, should I not show you على ما يمحو الله به خطايا, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, if you do like something that will, you know, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you do this action or these actions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will wipe out. Because yamhu, it comes from the word maha, mahawtu. Yamhu, all right. And maha, it means what? To wipe out, to efface, to get rid of something. Yes, to wipe it out. All right. Yeah. All right, to get rid of it, to wipe it out. وَيَمْحُ اللَّهُ الرِّبَا وَيَشْفِ وَيُرَبِي الصَّدَقَاتِ. Because you get no ajr. There's nothing for it. What do you get for riba? Nothing but itham and sin and everything. So there's no ajr for it. Even if you were to give it in sadaqah, what? You get a sin for it. You know, so yeah, of course not. إِنَّ اللَّهَ طَيِّبٌ وَلَا يَقْبَلُ إِلَّا طَيِّبًا. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is tayyib, and He doesn't accept anything except that it is tayyib, khalis. Khalis wal muwafiq, you know, lil kitab wa sunnah. So alhamdulillah, wa yurbi sadaqat. So all right, but ma yamhu Allah bihi al khataya, and of course al khataya is the plural form of what? Al khata. All right. What's the difference between al khata and al ghalat?
The khata is a sin, and al ghalat is like a sincere mistake.
Al khata is something that you can fix. Al ghalat is something that you can't. It's a mistake that you can't fix. You can't just go back and just fix it. And that's why you see a lot At the times in Yemen, when you were in Sana'a, what did they say? Ya akhi, hada ghalat, ghalat, ghalat. You know, so it's like you can't fix that, you know. It's very, very rare you hear the Yemeni say what? Khata, hada khata. No, they say, Ya akhi, ghalat. So yeah, but yeah, you know, you can't go back and just repair it. You know, you have to, Allahumma musta'an. قالوا بلى يا رسول الله. No, he said, وما يمحو الله به الخطايا ويرفع به الدرجات. So he'll wipe out the mistakes and he'll increase you in what? And levels and stay in levels and you know he'll increase you and he'll raise your level and as a mu'min. قالوا بلى يا رسول الله. Says again, why did they say bala?
Oh, because you explained it last week.
Yeah.
Last class. Because
Was it the last? It was in a different book though. It wasn't in this book. I think it was in Adab al-Mufrad maybe.
Yeah, it was in the Adab al-Mufrad. It's a like should I not? And if you say na'am, it's like
Yeah, because he said ala. Ala adulukum. So ala, should I not? Adulukum, and adulukum, it means to show you, to ma yamhu Allahu bihi al-khataya. So if they say na'am, they say na'am. La tadullana. So they're saying na'am for the negation, yeah. Alright, so that's what it is. So here you say bala. The answer to it, if you want the information, you say bala ya Rasulullah. قال إسباغ الوضوء على المكاره. إسباغ الوضوء, what is it?
Does it mean making sure the water and the wudu goes to every place in the body?
Making sure that the water reaches all the places that it's supposed to reach. Okay, and so على المكاره, it means what? All right, during the winter time, back in those days, they didn't have water heaters. All right. So if the water, like in the wintertime, is very cold and the weather is very cold, is that not makadeh? Yeah, so you get scared and you're like, because the water can be so cold, it's painful. I mean, I used to make wudu in Yemen because we didn't have a heater. And when we did have the heater, there's no electricity anyway, so it's never on. It never works. It never works long enough to heat up the water. So in the wintertime, how cold did it used to get in Yemen? In Sana'a, ya Saifu? Do you remember? Well, it used to get so cold that my fingers, the skin of my fingers, if I flexed them too quickly at Fajr, the skin would crack. The skin would crack open, literally, and you would see like inside and, like little trickles of blood would start to come out because my skin would get so dry from the water because it was so cold. And it used to be painful. Like when we used to make wudu, like my hands would be in pain the whole time. Like literally I have to like go to Fajr and a jacket and do like, you have to do like this just to keep because the masjids are brick masjid, and there's no insulation. So you know what happens when you have a brick masjid with no insulation and that cold weather up in the mountains. Yeah, exactly. So it's colder inside the masjid than it is outside the masjid. So yeah, so when we go out and we make wudu outside and the tank is on the roofs. They have the water tank on the roofs of the masjid and the roofs of the houses. So now what do you think now? It doesn't get that cold but it's that mountain cold, It's like, like here in Fresno, like how it gets cold in the wintertime where it's not really cold, it's 40 degrees, but it gets into your bones and makes you feel like a 90-year-old man with arthritis throughout your whole body if you don't put a proper blanket, socks and everything, all right? So it's that type of cold. So when you're washing it, it's like you're doing wudu with what? With like ice. So, I mean, this is like al-makari. Then we go to Saudi Arabia, and then it's the exact opposite because they also put the tank on the roof of the house, and it's 120 degrees every single day in Riyadh in the summertime. So what do you think the water feels like now going to make wudu for dhuhr? What do you remember? It's hot. Yeah, it's not. It's like seriously, it's like you're taking and making wudu with volcano lava. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I remember the first time when we crossed the border from Yemen into Saudi Arabia, my kids were the first ones to go into the bathroom in the hotel. And they flushed the toilet. I don't think they remember because they were so young, they were like 5 years old. Asad was just a little baby. But they went and flushed the toilet. I think it was Mujahid. He's like, Mama, dukhan yakhruj min al-mirhad. Because it was bukhar. There's a steam coming up out of the toilet because the water was so hot that you could see the steam coming out when you flushed the toilet. And they thought it was smoke. They said, so yeah, I mean, it's that hot. So also, it's makare. So when you're in these types of conditions and you have to make wudu, but you have to make wudu properly. You can't like leave little spots all over your arms where there's no water. You still have to do isbagh al-wudu. And isbagh al-wudu is that you do wudu, you cover up all the parts that are supposed to be covered, with water. So, and that's why you get those rewards. All right. So he said, isbagh al-wudu ala al-makarih. وكثرة الخطى إلى المساجد. الخطى here means what? Like footsteps? Footsteps. So كثرة الخطى إلى المساجد, like a lot of footsteps going to the masjid. So a lot of walking, even to the point where one of the Sahaba even kept his house far just so he could walk. He could continue to walk to the masjid because just to get that reward. And you even see like Sunan Abi Dawood, if I can remember the hadith correctly, he said, بشر المشائين إلى المساجد في الظلام بالنور التام يوم القيامة. Just because of this hadith, and a hadith like this, you see like the people, they would prefer to walk even longer distances just to get to the masjid.
You said the Prophet ﷺ said that?
Yeah. Okay. It's in Sunan Abi Dawud. It might be in other than Sunan Abi Dawud. I just know it's from Sunan Abi Dawud. But he said, بشر المشائين. And then he said masha'in, which means what? This is what type of form of word in Arabic language? No.
No?
It is a jama', but this is something else. Masha'in is a sighat al-mubalagha. So it means the people who walk a lot to the masjid. Not just a person who just walks today. Masha'in. He didn't say mashi'in. He said, Bashir al-masha'in al-masajid fi al-dhalam. The people that are constantly walking and walking and walking to the masjid in darkness, bin nur and tam, yawm al-qiyamah, with a complete light on the day of judgment. So yes, so you see here even وَكَثَرَةُ الْخُطَاءِ إِلَى الْمَسَاجِدِ. And that was specifically for what? For the salawat where there's no light, because obviously, again, they didn't have electricity. So when they went to Fajr or they went to Isha, they went to Isha in the darkness, and that's why the Prophet ﷺ, he said, أَثْقَلَ الصَّلَاةَ عَلَى الْمُنَافِقِينَ what? صَلَاةَ الْفَجْرِ وَصَلَاةَ الْعِشَاءِ. All right, so why did he say that those are the two most difficult salats for the munafiqeen?
No?
Because of the dhulma, yeah. And, because of the dhalam. Nobody can see them. So they only, what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say about the salat? يَرَاهُونَ النَّاسَ وَلَا يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. That's the whole point of their salat is what? يَرَاهُونَ النَّاسَ. They only want to be seen because they want to say, hey, look, I'm praying with you guys. Allahu Akbar. See, look at me. But now in Fajr and Isha, where it's dark and there's no light, there's no electricity, what? Can't see them. So Bashir al-Munafiqeen, that we got electricity now and we don't see them in the masjid anymore. So Allah so Allah Muslim, we know who we see in Fajr and who we don't see in Fajr and who we do see and who we don't see and do see in Isha. So Allah Muslim. But they don't care anymore. They're out of the closet now. Allah Muslim. Next thing you know, they'll be having like hypocrites' rights parades and stuff like that. That's the hypocrites' rights parade. Subhanallah. But so he said, وَكَثَرَةُ الْخُطَاءِ إِلَى الْمَسَاجِدِ. So this is for all the salawat, all of them. The hadith of Sunan Abi Dawud is specific for the ones that are done in darkness. وَانْتِظَارُ الصَّلَاةِ بَعْدَ الصَّلَاةِ. And this is when you go into the masjid, you pray, like for example, Asr. And you sit in the place where you prayed and you stay there and you remain in the remembrance of Allah, either reading the Quran or maybe reading Hadith, sitting in durus, but your whole intention is that you're going to stay there until what? Till the next salat. All right. And he said, ذَلِكُمُ الرِّبَاطِ. ذَلِكُمُ الرِّبَاطِ. So a ribat is like what? لزوم الثغور. حراسة ضد العدو. So a ribat, it means like what? That you're staying in the trenches and staying on guard duty to protect the Muslims. All right, because just like you would remain in guard duty from this time to that time, so you're like remaining in the masjid from this time to that time, like you remain. So that's why he compared it to a ribat. He said, ذَلِكُمُ الرِّبَاطِ ذَلِكُمُ الرِّبَاط. But the actual ribat is like what the one that you, where the Prophet ﷺ said, ribat al-laylun and khayrum min ad-dunya wa ma alayha, you know, ribat fi sabilillah, taban, you know, khayrum min ad-dunya wa ma alayha is better than the whole dunya and everything that's on the dunya. That is the ribat of what? Standing guard and protecting the Muslims against the enemy, just in case the enemy attacks, that you're on duty and you're waiting. And even if the enemy doesn't attack, we spoke about this before, what? You still get the reward. Yeah, because you did your job.
From that time until the day of judgment.
Yeah, and his reward, it continues to go. Yeah, all the way until the day of judgment. Exactly. So that's no doubt. But this is he compared it to a ribat because of how the person sits there and remains in the masjid in obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and remaining in the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, instead of going out and leaving the masjid like the rest of the people and getting attacked by shaitan and following his desires and getting heedless and caught up in the dunya. But he remains in the masjid waiting from this salat to the next salat and remaining in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All right, and that's why you see in the book I did not translate al-ribat. Why? Because it's just too much work. You see how much I would have, like the hadith would have gone from here to here just with the translation of the word alone. But that's what ribat means. All right, ribat means that. So now if you listen to these classes, now you understand. So if you got the book and now you listen to the classes, now you know. All right, so that's hadith number 34. Beautiful hadith. All of these hadith are beautiful. Have we read a beautiful hadith that we wouldn't say it's beautiful yet? Of course. Now, I mean, there's like a hadith about, you know, biur and all that. You know, I mean, it's beautiful because it's beautiful that we have this type of organization in Islam, laws and regulations that, you know, that the kuffar, you know, should be jealous of us for, but because we don't really care about them, so how can they be jealous about it? But yeah, so yes, every hadith, everything from the Quran and the Sunnah is beautiful. Alhamdulillah, Allah yuthabbitana ala hadhihi ni'mah.
Even the books of the kuffar, when it comes to business, one of them they just say, like, if you want to be rich, you need to be in debt, and you just need to like take people's money and like, in a sense, like legally, quote unquote, legally take their money, and like all the books is the same regarding how to become rich. So a lot of cheating, there's no contentment. They go against the idea you have to be content with what Allah gave you, like saying, oh, you only have one car, and they make fun of you for only one. It's like so satanic. The books of business seem to, they don't know.
Yeah, we'll see who's laughing on the day of judgment.
A lot of ish in these books, especially the motivational speaking books. A lot of ish in it.
Most of those books, they only attach you to the dunya anyways. That's why, you know, if people are going to read those books, I mean, it should be Muslims in the, you know, if people are actually reading those books, then Muslims should be writing those books from the Quran and the Sunnah. Because, wallahi, everything that the kuffar say that's true. And I've read a bunch of these books. I've read, you know, all these books on leadership, John Maxwell, Brian Tracy, and, you know, what's the other kafir's name? Dale Carnegie. But Dale Carnegie, even Imam Asadi read his book. And he said that everything that this kafir said is true. And he bought a copy in Lebanon and had it sent back to his library, a translation of it in Arabic. He actually bought it because he bought it for a friend who was going there. He was in Lebanon. He was suffering from cancer. So he went and bought the book as a gift to him, but he read it before he gave it to him, you know, this is amana, right? You don't want to go and buy a book for somebody because that's all he could get at that time. So he bought it because it talks about, Dale Carnegie wrote a book, it's called How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. But he bought the translation of it in Arabic. And he read the book in Arabic. And I haven't read the book in Arabic. I read it in English. But this is what Imam Sa'di said. He said everything that this kafir said is true. I mean, because whatever they say is true, we have it in the Quran and the Sunnah. We have it. But the thing is because when we read these books, we're not reading the Quran and the Sunnah with that type of mindset. So like when I read through all the different hadiths, I read Bukhari, I read Muslim, I read, all these different books of hadith, Jami' Sahih from Sheikh Mubil and all this, right? I'm not reading it with the mindset of what?
Doing business.
Principle, leaderships of business, or leadership principles and all that. I'm not thinking about that. But then when I read those books and then I saw the truth that they said, and I was like, oh man, hadith kada, and then I could see it. But I mean, because I read a bunch of them. I mean, probably 50, 60, I don't know how many of those books I read. But mostly on leadership, mostly on like leadership, public speaking, procrastination, time management, all that. I mean, there's beneficial stuff in those books, but their books are dunya oriented. They're oriented to, like, they put their books in a way that's like, what? Work for the dunya, work for the dunya. So when I used to read them with a mindset of like, okay, now how would I apply the same advice to seeking knowledge? But now most people in the West have never been students of knowledge before. They can't do that because they don't have that experience. And they don't read hadith, they're not familiar with hadith. So when they read those books, all it's gonna do is make them what? Want to love the dunya and work for the dunya and become materialistic and waste their dunya and their akhirah, because they might not even get that, because we talked about that hadith so many times. About the, man ja'ala dunya, what is it? What?
Take care of your akhirah. Take care of your akhirah. You can't gain the akhirah and the dunya. Take care of the dunya, lose the dunya and the akhirah.
What is it? يعني من جعل الآخرة همه يعني جعل الله الغنى في قلبه. من هو؟ وصد فقره. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if the person makes the dunya, the akhirah, he places all importance in getting the akhirah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts richness in his heart, his contentment in his heart, and he blocks the poverty, keeps the poverty away from him. He said, وَمَنْ جَعَلَ الدُّنْيَا هَمَّهُ جَعَلَ اللَّهُ الْفَقْرَ بَيْنَ عَيْنَيْهِ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he puts, I'm actually mixing between two different hadiths right now. I just realized that. But this is the second part of the second. This is the actual second part of the. He said, وَجَعَلَ اللَّهُ الْفَقْرَ بَيْنَ عَيْنَيْهِ. That he puts poverty and everything that he's working to get away from is what he puts it right between his eyes, where that's all he sees. And he's not gonna, like, his faqr is not gonna be, وَلَا مَسُدَّ فَقْرُ. And I'm not gonna انزل معه. Oh no, go Mujahid انزل معه. Yeah. So I mean, the whole point, but the other one, the hadith that I wanted to say was that the person who works, that's all about the dunya. What he said, he said, and جعل فقر في قلبه. What? وملأ يديه what? Oh, yeah, and ملأ يديه شغل.
I thought you was quoting the one that if you, the one who puts his focus on his akhirah, he get his akhirah and his dunya, and the one who focuses on the dunya.
Listen, Abdul we just ate two of the biggest pizzas that the world has ever seen.
Let me close this.
So it's like I'm trying to get the hadith out, and I'm just mixing between two hadiths. Like I told you, man, I went after that pizza and we went straight to work trying to prepare the lesson for the night. So, man, my mind is mashed potatoes right now. But yeah, but the whole point is in the second one of those, like you said, he said, وَمَلَأَ يَدَيْهِ شُغَلًا. So the person who works for the dunya, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he brings nothing but distractions to this person. So you're not gonna get anything except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written for you. Exactly what he's written for you. You're not gonna get anything more, anything less, These are all asbab, and getting money, there's asbab. Obviously, you can't sit at home and say, what? Yeah, Allah give me money, and you just like turn on the TV and watch TV all day. That's just stupid. That's stupid. There's asbab. You gotta go out and you gotta seek that. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, Allahumma barik li ummati fi bukuriha. Not right now. But Allahumma barik li ummati fi bukhuriha. And even one of the Sahaba used to understood that hadith, and it's a total meaning. And he used to send his tijara out early in the morning to go out to the souk when he started selling very early. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with bless his business, and put so much barakah in his business. So so there are asbab. There's asbab. Being organized, starting doing things early in the morning. Like what the Prophet ﷺ said, and yati nasa ma yuhibbu an yu'ta ilayhi. To give to the people what you love them to, treat the people and do with the people what you want for them to do to you. If you act like this in business, are you going to be successful if you take these principles from the Sunnah?
Of course.
Exactly. Treat the people the way you want to be treated. Don't they call us like the golden rule or some stupid stuff like that? But it's a hadith. But the thing is that these Muslims nowadays are going to quote these kuffar. They're going to quote the kuffar. They're going to say, Dale Carnegie said. Or what's the other kafir that wrote that book, Think and Grow Rich? What's his name? I forgot his name, but...
Like Poor Dad, Rich Dad?
No. These are these new people. I'm talking about the original books from like the early 1900s. I Think and Grow Rich, he wrote that before the economic collapse in 1929. He actually published in the book, and he published the book as a large book. And then the economic collapse happened, the Great Depression started, so he couldn't. So that's why he brought out Think and Grow Rich, because he brought it out after the Great Depression, and he condensed the book into like one small book so that people could buy it. But the actual book, I have it at home. It's huge. I don't have it at home here. I have it at home in Jacksonville. If that's still my home. That's not our home anymore. Is that home? Not our home. Is Jacksonville still our home? Huh? No? Yes? Huh?
I said no.
You want to go back to alligators? You like the alligators? Well, it's perfect time to be in Jacksonville now, dude. It's mating season for alligators, so go out there and you can get your leg bitten off, inshallah. It's a perfect season for it. Any questions before I end this? Nothing. إلهنا سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
Say if you like.